Hi, this is natalchart and welcome to Mystic Mooneries. On today's video, we will be going over what it means to have the North Node in the third house and the South Node in the ninth house of your natal chart. If you enjoyed this video, please click like and don't forget to subscribe and comment on anything that resonates with you from this video. So without wasting any more time, let's get into what it means when you have the North Node in the third and South Node in the ninth house. Okay, so when you have the North Node in the third, South Node in the ninth house, we have the polarity between rigidity and flexibility in thought. So with this placement, we have to remember that the third house is our first point of social contact with our immediate environment. Um, and by that I mean our immediate environment, other than ourselves and our parents or our immediate caregivers. It It's basically the part of our lives that builds our intellectual and social skills through our interactions with either our siblings or cousins, our neighbors, our teachers, etc. It's the part of our lives where we first integrate into society and we fully become a member of the community which we grow up in. And it is this community or immediate environment that tends to influence and shape our view of the world through the culture that the community is a part of. So, when the North Node is placed here, we have to remember that the North Node is the part of our lives that is very underdeveloped, the part of our lives where we are very uncomfortable with or feel some sort of disconnection to, or we just have a bit of a struggle with navigating that particular house in our natal chart. And so when the node is placed here, there is a tendency for people with displacement to feel quite estranged towards um, the themes of the third house. For instance, there could be something in their childhood where, um, whether it be in the relationship with their siblings or their immediate environment or just in the ideas or the ways of thinking um, that may have been pushed upon you that people with displacement kind of rejected or felt disconnected to for some reason, and as a result of this they may have you know developed a very reclusive or a very introspective mind, or may have felt the need to escape, the circumstances of their immediate environment or their relationships with their siblings and cousins and teachers or whoever, by finding solace in either, foreign lands or foreign cultures or foreign beliefs or, you know, um, just people who are maybe finding comfort and feeling as though you are more accepted within um, a certain group of people that might be foreign from your own native group, right? Um, yeah, so whatever that thing was that caused that disconnection when it comes to things of the third house, you felt much more safer by traveling and whether physically or mentally, it just felt much safer to travel into foreign lands or foreign ways of thinking or foreign religions or foreign belief systems. Um, so basically, it's like your rejection of your own, um, possibly your own culture, or rejection of your own people from your immediate environment that you grew up in, um, or rejection of the kinds of ideas that were kind of pushed upon you, your rejection of those could have been, the catalyst or the motivation for why you seek a sense of belonging in foreign cultures or foreign lands or, foreign belief systems and foreign religions. Um, and it is this rejection or disconnection that makes you so good with embracing other cultures and ways of thinking that are far removed from the ones you grew up in. You may also be someone who has a natural philosophical mind and be drawn to topics and belief systems that are quite expansive. Um, However, you can become quite immersed in these foreign cultures and belief systems that you have adopted that can kind of cause you to see things in a very rigid, black and white kind of way. And it's almost as if you could easily become so immersed in this new way of life, this new way of thinking, that it can cause you to be quite closed minded in a way where it's difficult for you to be open to other ways of thinking or be open to other people's opinions and other people's, perspectives on life and how it should be, lived and what they believe in to be truth. Um, you just have a rigidity in the way that you think. And, you know, you could come off as being someone who takes life a little bit too seriously as a result. And that can end up making you quite impersonable in general. So, an example of how this energy could manifest, when I like to give practical examples. So, an example would be, you know, someone who enjoys having higher intellectual or philosophical, even religious conversations where, everything they talk about either has to be always centered around religion. That's all they think about. It literally becomes their identity, their way of living. That's the only thing that they can, truly converse about. And they they might find any kind of small talk to be very uncomfortable or even a waste of time. They could be the type of people who may have a non-religious background, so they could have grown up in a setting where their family or the community, that they grew up in was just not religious, and they could have, been very cultural, very culture centered in their way of living, and there wasn't anything that points towards religion at all, and they could have, you know, grown up rejected um, their culture for some reason and adopted a religious way of life and taken up, Christianity, for example, and, um, you know, taken it up to the point where they immerse themselves in this religious lifestyle, religious way of thinking that they could even become, what other people might see as a bit of a religious fanatic, where they might live by very strict religious rules and beliefs and belief systems, and they might be the type that even ends up thinking, anything outside of their belief system or way of living is, either considered evil or, considered sinful, and they just don't want to even entertain um, conversations that don't go along with their Christian beliefs. And, they don't hold any kind of space to listen to other people's belief systems or how they see life or how they want to live their lives. Um, they just are completely, you know, closed minded, if I can say. Um, Very closed minded. And there's just no room for flexibility at all. There's no room for accepting other people's truths, and they believe that their way of living is the truth and it is the only truth. And anyone else's truth is not valid or is not even entertained. Um, so it can get to that level of um, rigidity when you are fully within the South Node, ninth house energies. Um, you really live in the ninth house themes, and it can really cause you to be a hard person to really penetrate or connect to because they only see life in one way. Um, yeah, it kind of isolates you in a way. Um, and that's the complete opposite of what the third house energies requires from you, with the node being there. Um, another example could be someone who abandons their native environment and, goes on to become a spiritual follower of some sort. They go and they join some Buddhist type of lifestyle as well. It doesn't have to be religious, it could be spiritual as well. Um, and, they become this spiritual follower in some foreign land, and they could fully immerse themselves in that life. Um, this could this could also be somebody who doesn't just abandon their native space and belief systems and culture, um, just for religious or spiritual reasons. They could just simply abandon it to go immerse themselves in different cultures as well. Just become a part of a different culture. This could also be seen as someone like maybe a white person, and somehow they immerse themselves in black culture. They have friends who are all black, and they immerse themselves in that culture, and they don't quite connect the same with people of their own race. It could be seen as that as well. um, there could be some sort of disconnection there with their own race, and they just don't feel like they are understood by them, or they don't feel like they connect with them for some reason. They don't feel like they are accepted by them because of the way they think or the way that they are in general. And so they go out of their race and they find a home or a sense of belonging outside of their culture, outside of their race, type of thing, because that's still very much Sagittarian ninth house energy as well. So yeah, those are just a few examples of you know how this energy can manifest, with the south node being in the ninth house, and the type of behaviors you might see with someone with a south node ninth house energy. um But when we get to the node being in the third house, this is where now we're looking at what your purpose is in this lifetime, because you've done all of the things that are very ninth house energy. You've immersed yourself in that kind of energy. And now you need to learn to develop the third house energies that you don't quite feel as comfortable with. Um, and basically, your purpose, as someone with this placement in this lifetime, is to learn to integrate your third house subjects more into your life by either strengthening your relationship with siblings, your cousins, or your neighbors, or you might have to learn to be a part of the community within your own native environment. Um, because another thing you might see with ninth house south node is somebody who just doesn't quite feel comfortable with being a part of a community. They don't feel like they fit in to a community that they are currently living in. And you'll find this in somebody who's always moving, who lives almost like a nomad of some sort, who's just always hopping from place to place, and you just can't seem to sit still and fully integrate yourself into that community that you're living in. You're always on to the next place, you're on to the next province, you're on to the next country. You never stay in one place for very long. Um, there's a sense of disconnection that you feel with people. You just can't seem to make these connections that make you feel like you belong in a certain place. And so it's almost as if you have this constant search for truth, this constant search for meaning, this constant search for belonging. Um, and, this is a part of your life that you need to learn to really develop, is to learn to be part of a community within not just your native environment, but any environment that you are currently living, any local environment that you are living in. Learn to integrate yourself and truly be a part of that community. Um, and you can do this by going outside and getting out of your serious shell. You could be someone who's very introspective, very shy, very, or you could also be someone who's just out there, very extroverted, but still you just can't quite maintain relationships like that. Um, you, yeah, like you could be somebody who thinks a bit too much, like you think a little bit too deep, or you overthink things, where it's like sometimes it's not that deep. Sometimes you can just have a shallow conversation, and that's what you need to learn. You need to learn to get out of your head and just talk, just make small talk, and understand that not everything has to be this deep philosophical conversation. Not everything has to be surrounded or involve religious themes. Not everything has to revolve around your belief systems. It's okay to just be and allow yourself to connect with people on a more shallow level. Another thing you need to learn in this lifetime is to be more flexible in your thinking. You need to learn to be more open to, you know, learning new things or new ideas about topics that you might have strong opinions on. But, it's okay to listen to other ways of thinking, to other interpretations of whatever it is that you have strong opinions on, and allow yourself to, you know, hear what other people have to say. You don't have to have all the answers. In fact, you don't have all the answers. And that's okay. That is what makes you human. And that is what also makes you personable. That is what will help you to connect with other people because you're not acting self righteous. You're not acting as though you know everything, you have all the answers, and your way is the right way, your way is the only way, because that is not true. and you need to understand that. And by understanding that, it means you're letting other people also teach you something. You're allowing yourself to be teachable, even with all the in depth knowledge that you might have about a specific subject. But that's not to say that that is the only truth that is out there, right? Um, you could also learn more about your own culture and learn more about your native belief systems that you may have, you know, grown up in and may have rejected for some reason. But maybe now it might be time for you to find out more about these belief systems. Try to understand them, from a different perspective, from a much more mature perspective, and really allow yourself to be open minded and not judgmental. Um, and understand that there is something valuable in the different types of knowledge systems, the different types of religions, the different types of belief systems and cultures. There is something valuable to be learned from each one. Um, and, just understand that when understand that you don't have all the answers, and allowing yourself to listen to other people's opinions and other people's ways of seeing things, other people's perspectives, other people's, um, you know, understanding of the world. It will allow you to expand your mind even further, and it will make you even wiser than you already are. And you really need to understand and learn that there is more than one way to experience and make sense of life, right? So you really need to learn to accept a difference of opinion. Um, like I said, when it comes to belief systems, and because you might be someone who is prone to believe that their systems are the one and only truth. So you will find that if you just allow yourself to be more open-minded and more curious about the people in your immediate community that you might feel estranged from, in your immediate community that you might feel like you don't belong in, or they don't understand you, or they just are not on the level that you're on, whatever the case is. um, you'll find if you actually become more curious about those people and your immediate community, and try to open your mind to their ideas and their views, you will find it so rewarding and so fulfilling. And you'll find that it also makes you more easy to connect to, because that's something that you might really struggle with, is building connections with people. Because that's what third house energy is. It's building connections. It's making small talk. It's having a network of people. It's being a part of a community and belonging somewhere. It's social skills. And you realize that, you become more sociable. You become more likable. You become more personable. Um, and, because if you just allow yourself to, or allow others to also teach you something, um, you're just easier to connect to as a person, because it's very difficult to connect to a person who believes that they're always right and they believe that they have all the answers. Um, and it can be also very limiting to you to only think and see life through one lens. You have to find, like, you'll see that you find so much value in understanding that while you have all this knowledge about this specific topic, be it religion or culture or spirituality, or it could even be some sort of intellectual, higher learning subject. um, you'll find that it's not the only truth. And it would be wiser to always take on the attitude of becoming a lifetime student, and not just to believe that you know all the answers and you are the teacher, because even the teacher has to constantly refresh their knowledge. Even the teacher has to constantly look for new ways of understanding certain topics. Even the teacher has to stay updated, and they have to have variety in their way of understanding a particular topic or understanding life in general. So you find that you become much more wiser if you just allow yourself to be a student at all times. And that includes or requires you to stay open minded, to stay curious, about life and about, you know, people around you and their views, and really, really try to be less judgmental and less rigid in your thought, and adopt a lot more flexibility in the way that you think and move and communicate. So yeah, that's the node in the third house, and south node in the ninth house. Basically, learning to be flexible in the way that you think, flexible in the way that you communicate, and learning to be more personable, learning to connect with other people, learning to be curious, and not stay rigid, and seeing life through one lens. It's very important in this lifetime that you teach yourself to become a perpetual student. You teach yourself to become more sociable and build more connections, and not isolate yourself as much as you have in the past. So you'll find that your life becomes much more fulfilling, much more um, exciting, and you gain even more knowledge than you already have. And you're someone who's very knowledgeable, but you can never know everything. You don't know everything. So there's always more that needs to be learned. So embrace that third house energy. And I hope this video was helpful. And I will see you guys in the next video.